All right. So thanks for everyone who's joining us today. Before we start, let me just quickly, first of all, welcome you all to today's information session about the Middle East Professional Learning Initiatives Fellowship. We call basically the acronym for the Middle East Professional Learning Initiative is MEPLI. So that's like the abbreviation for it. So we're just going to use MEPLI going forward, but again, it stands for the Middle East Professional Learning Initiative at the School of Education at Harvard. My name is Amin Marai. I'm the Associate Director in Professional Education, and I'm leading the Middle East Professional Learning Initiative. And today we have with us also Nawal.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Nawal Qutb, and I am doing an internship with the MEPLI Fellowship. I'm a master's student at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I am from Jordan. أهلا وسهلا. أنا أردنية. I'm doing the International Education Policy Program, and I look forward to working with you all as you apply for this fantastic program.
Thank you, Nawal. So again, thanks for everyone for joining, and we're going to move along. If you have any questions as we're going along, please, first of all, before we start, please make sure that your mics are on mute so that we don't have any noise. And as we move along, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box to the right of your screen. All right, so let's first start by giving you an overview of professional education. So this initiative is under professional education, and professional education is basically the department that handles all the certificates and courses that are non-degree. So the non-degree courses are the PhD courses, the master's program courses, the doctoral courses, anything non-degree, anything that doesn't culminate or end with a degree is done under professional education at the School of Education. As you can see from the screen, our portfolios are divided into four portfolios: the early childhood programs, the K-12 programs, the higher education programs, and the online programs. And by the way, this is a screenshot from our website. So our website is hgse.ppe. PPE stands for Professional Education. If you want to open it, it's also like available at the frequently asked questions. Basically, it's available on our website. And we hope while you were applying, because that's an integral component of the application, is asking you about the programs that you're interested in. We hope and we highly recommend that you go through this before you choose, because a lot of the decision in terms of like deciding whether we're going to interview you or whether you're going to be accepted has a lot to do with your selections as well, and seeing your rationale behind your selection. The fellowship is mainly focused on K-12 and online programs. So if we have those four portfolios, most of the courses are within the K-12 and the online programs. So I know some of you might ask, what are the courses, what are the programs within the fellowship? They are within those two portfolios. So you basically open those two portfolios and check the courses there. So before we start, also like just to give you a mission of the initiative as a whole. So basically the initiative hopes to support teacher educators and system level leaders and support their practices, programs, and structures, basically to help promote and sustain student achievement and opportunity. A lot of our focus is on trying to support disadvantaged communities. You don't have to be from a disadvantaged community, but your focus or your work has to have a component that addresses that. And a lot of the reason behind that is basically, a lot of private schools in the Middle East region are great private schools, and a lot of them already have resources to take courses at Harvard and other schools. And that's why we're hoping to support those who actually don't necessarily have this option, or even if they're in private schools, they still have a connection or still find a way to connect with those who are less privileged or less advantaged. So also for you just to have an idea about the fellowship's goals. So the fellowship is basically has three main goals. First of it is support teacher educators. So one thing also that is important to mention, I know you probably already know that, but the fellowship is focused on teacher educators. So you have to have some experience in teaching, but also some experience in teaching teachers. So we want to support you through the fellowship to achieve your learning goals. and add value to your existing practices. We're not assuming that you don't already have amazing practices on the ground. We know that you're doing great work. We want to support this great work being done through our courses and also through the fellowship support. We want to help you create a learning community for teacher educators to share knowledge, expertise, and build sustainable relationships. One thing that is core. Someone just joined and the mic is not muted. Please mute your mic. So yeah, one thing basically is also integral to the whole experience is creating a learning community. And this won't happen. I mean, we will help you with it, but it won't happen unless you want it to happen, because you are on the ground, you work in the region, you know the challenges and the opportunities there, and to be able to work on those challenges and build on the opportunities, having a learning community supports that, and we will work with you to help you build on the existing learning communities and develop new learning communities. And in general, like, we want to help you in sharing and disseminating what you've learned. So our assumption in this fellowship is not that you're just going to take some courses and share them on your own. We want to work with you when you're sharing. We want to make sure that the sharing process makes the most sense. We don't want you to share to tick off the box that, yeah, I just shared something. No, we want you to show us how you're sharing it. Show us the rationale, the goals, the learning goals behind your sharing, and how you plan to sustain that, how you plan to evaluate it as well. That's important for the fellowship as a whole. This diagram just shows you gives you a better idea of the goals and how they interact. So we see the MEPLI fellows in the middle of three circles intersecting together. The first is developing practice through courses that we're providing through the fellowship. The second is sharing knowledge and how you can share what you've learned with others. And the third thing is basically how you use both to create a learning community. So the fellowship is a 1-year job embedded experience. And what it means by job embedded basically is that we're not expecting you to be doing it on your own. We're expecting that every fellow has at least one job, or even if that's not the case, that the fellow has a significant commitment. So it's job embedded experience. We don't expect you to spend 1 year here basically, or 1 year just focusing on the fellowship. We expect you to do it while you're working. And again, it provides scholarships for professional education programs at Harvard School of Education. The fellowship supports fellows in sharing and incorporating what they've learned into existing practices. And again, as I mentioned, we're going to support you in how you can do that. Just as a point of information, that this year we had 48 MEPLI fellows from Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine. And again, the fellowship, as you probably know, going through the different information that we've shared, the fellowship is only right now for Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine. And we're planning to grow it further to other countries. But again, we want to first make sure that the fellowship experience itself is strong enough before we start increasing the existing number of fellows or having new fellows. And the fellowship, again, it's 1 year. So if you join, you're only joining for 1 year. So the fellows we have right now, they're going to graduate from the fellowship. They're going to finish the courses in December and graduate from the fellowship in February. And basically the graduation is we're going to go to the region and have just a small event celebrating the achievements of our fellows, hopefully in the 3 countries, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine, or at least one of those countries. And you receive a certificate after. So you receive a certificate. That's also usually a question that a lot of people ask. For every course you take, you receive a certificate for the course. And if you complete the fellowship, by the end you receive a certificate for the fellowship as well. And usually also another thing that is mentioned, is important at least to mention, is that the fellowship is a significant commitment. So if you feel that you have a significant event happening in your life during this year, or again, you can't plan for these things, but some things we know. So for example, if you're going to get married within this year, you're going to have a significant life event within this year, and you feel you have to be the judge, and you feel that this is a significant event that will impact your ability to learn actively and share with others and build a learning community, then we recommend that you wait for next year and apply, so that you don't take the place of someone else who would have spent more time within the fellowship. And again, it's not only the fellowship, it's also how you support others. So the more you're involved, the more you can support more people within your network.
I'm sorry. I mean, but we got an email that they can't hear us. So can we check?
Yeah. So for anyone who can't hear us,
Can they all hear us?
please make sure they probably won't know because they can't hear us now. But I mean, please make sure that you're connecting via activate computer audio. So please just send them an email, let them know that if you, I mean, and also for anyone who's listening to us right now, if anything happens in the middle, disconnect and reconnect and make sure that you're connecting via computer audio. You have to activate that to hear us. If you don't do that, you won't be able to hear us. Okay, so the MEPLI Fellowship supports the following activities. So, as we mentioned, supporting programs online and residential up to a certain budget. So you can't exceed the budget in terms of courses and online and residential. And one thing else, I'm sure you also read already about that, we don't allow for more than 3 courses per year. And we highly recommend that you don't take more than 1 course per semester or per period. And the reason behind that is that every course is a significant commitment. You're already working and you already have some commitments in your personal lives. So to be able to get the best out of the course, we highly recommend that you only take 1 course per period. And we don't provide more than 3 courses, even if you're taking 5 courses within the budget that we allocate. We won't allow you to take 5 courses. It's a maximum of 3. And your selection has to be clear how your selection links with your problem of practice, links with your theory of action, and links with what you want to do in terms of learning goals. So if you are not able to do that, then again, like we highly recommend that you wait, maybe apply next year or work on what you think makes the most sense. We expect that all fellows participate in our learning network. It's an online network basically for fellows to interact. So if you're not, again, it's a significant commitment to interact and make sure that that's happening as well. We want our fellows to work with us and we want to support them in contextualizing the relevant learning content. So we want to work with you to see how we can adopt some of what you've learned and link it to your context. Because some of what you've learned is going to be focused on the US. Some of it is going to be focused on other countries. Might not be relevant to your context. We want to work with you to make sure that you're able to share it in a way that makes sense to your context, your culture, your society, and your experience as well. And one thing else that is also very important is participating in MEPLI convenings in the region. So we're going to have convenings in the region. Either we will be there or our fellows are going to organize convenings there. So the expectation is for the fellows to participate in those convenings in the region. And the convenings are meetings in the region for fellows to interact, to share knowledge. Sometimes maybe you can invite a guest expert who would share something, and basically a way to support the growth of the learning community. So just to give you, a better sense of the fellowship experience, there's this short video that a draft video just to give you a sense of the fellowship's experience.
Hello everybody, my name is Zubanni Ambar. I am from Jerusalem. I am the director of the Episcopal Technological and Vocational Training Center in Ramallah, Palestine.
My name is Rilla Saeed. I'm from Queen Rania Teacher Academy. I'm Yusra Sabra from Lebanon. I'm from the Ministry of Education Department DOT.
I am Sam Siam, the head of School Quality Assurance US at Norwa, Jordan.
Hello, I'm Mana Shalhoub from the National Institute for Education Training and to the Ministry of Education in Palestine. The knowledge I gained was really great. I have now the framework that I need to take to my institute and to develop myself and my future in a way that benefits the kids, the students, and all classes.
I've never thought of reflecting using painting, and I think that using reflecting, painting and reflecting is the master key to unlock the door of understanding.
Hi, I'm Grace Selch from Lebanon, educational counselor. It's a crazy experience to be here, to meet people from all around the world, to have teaching experience, share teaching experience, success stories, failure, wandering, frustration. It's a great experience. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot, and it helped me to help students shape their own world. Now I'm coming back in the hope to create a new culture of thinking and deeper understanding with joy to my students. What I really liked about this course is that I can easily develop the higher thinking order skills for me and for my own students. We had a wonderful conversation with Howard Gardner, where we had a chance to discuss our problem of practice, and he encouraged us to think of it from a different perspective.
Every day at Harvard there was a challenge that leads to a certain change in paradigm, a mind shift, and we're looking forward to transfer this change to our colleagues in Lebanon and to apply it in our classes.
I'm a very proud MEPLI fellow. I have taken a lot out of this great opportunity. I got to connect not just with people from different parts of the world, but specifically from people with from my own region, from the Middle East, people from Palestine, people from Jordan, and also people from Lebanon. And I'm hoping that we're going to continue with whatever we've learned, whatever we've taken from this great experience. We're going to continue to collaborate with one another when we go back to our own context and our own homes.
It is a fabulous, magnificent, extraordinary course. Don't hesitate, try it, get into it in order to see everything visible in the whole world.
So yeah, so as you can see, this gives you a sense of the fellowship and the fellowship experience. So yeah, I want to just stop here because we've talked a lot, and I want to just give you a chance to ask any questions you may have so far. So please, if you have any questions, just type it in the chat box. Yes, please, Suzanne, please, when do the courses get posted? So the courses are already online. So I'm checking because, sorry, one sec. Just split this slide. Do you know the minutes also?
Okay, Mr. Amin, I have it.
Yeah, so sorry. So please just make sure to only type and make sure that your mics are muted. So yeah, the courses are already online. And if you want to access the courses, as we mentioned in the beginning, please check the professional education courses at the School of Education. And the portfolios are the K-12 portfolio and the online programs portfolio. And this is also mentioned in the frequently asked questions website or web page, the link that we shared with you, or the link that you also can access online that has all the answers some of the questions related to the fellowship. You can choose. So one thing that is important for everyone to know is that the fellowship experience offers you a chance to take and choose the courses that makes the most sense to you, as long as first they fit with your problem of practice and learning goals. Two, they have to be within the budget that we offered. Three, they have to be no more than 3 courses. 4, they have to be either K-12 or online programs. So these are the only programs that we deal with. And also lastly is the program has to fit with your profile. So for example, if it's a program for principals and you're not the principal, then you won't be able to take the course because it doesn't fit with your profile. Can we get to, okay, someone's asking, can we get 2 semesters online and 1 semester as residential, or should all of them be either, yeah, so again, like you choose your experience. Please, someone's mic is still online, sorry, still live. Please mute your mic. You probably can hear yourself because it creates an echo, so please mute your mic. And again, like the questions are mainly through chat.
Can I ask it?
Can you please type it via chat and make sure that your mic is muted? again, we're sorry that we're asking you to mute your mics. It's just that if everyone's mic is open, then it's going to create significant noise, and it will be very hard for us to have a discussion, and that's why we're asking you to type your questions. And Noel will help me if there are any questions that will come up as we're talking. Again, Suzanne, if you didn't hear our answer, we're going to share the video with all the answers, and the answer basically is in the frequently asked questions. So if you check the document, the answer is already there. So Grace is asking a question, I need more information about this system. If you can elaborate more, because this seems like a relatively generic question, it will be great. If you can explain more, what do you mean by this system? What's your criteria in choosing? Hassan Al-Atrash is asking, what's your criteria in choosing participants? Is it about age, teaching, positions, qualifications? So it's definitely not about age. I mean, what we look for is a participant or an applicant who has experience as a teacher educator, is interested or motivated to give back to their own community, and clearly knows or has an idea of their problem of practice and what they want to work on and what they want to learn. Yeah, so Dima asked the question, can we register for courses and then change? No. So the reason why it's no, basically, it's like if you join a master's program, or when you were doing your bachelor's, when you chose the course, let's say in the beginning of the semester, you can't change the course in the middle. So, and that's why we're asking you during the application process to go through our courses and tell us exactly what courses, at least have an idea of what courses you want to take. Then we're going to provide a session going through the courses more and working with you to make sure that your selections are correct. But again, like if you spend 3 months choosing your courses, and then after 3 months of all this work, then you decide to change afterwards, then either the problem was with the amount of work you put into the process, or with the selection, and we can't do that. Again, that's why we want you to do your best. It's your homework basically to know what you want to take as a course and what you want to learn. The one thing to mention is that the only reason in which we change the courses is that if a significant event happens, it requires this change. And by significant event, I mean mainly if you're taking a residential course, having a visa issue, then we can change that. But if anything else happens, usually you don't make any changes to courses. Okay, so regarding the residential option, will it be covered by you guys or us? So for residential, that's a great question. The fellowship is covering courses. We have a travel and financial aid support. We offer financial aid support for travel, but it's very limited. And by very limited, I mean last year we had 32 fellows come for residential programs, and from those 32, we were only able to offer financial aid for around 15, so half of them. And those we provided with financial aid, none of them received full financial aid. And actually, most of them received an amount that's probably less than 50% of what they spent. So again, like our financial aid for travel is very limited. So if you're planning for a residential program, don't expect that we will definitely cover you. That probably won't happen. We will probably cover a part of your travel. Again, we're covering the full residential course. And if you take a look at our residential courses, the cheapest residential course we have is probably $3,000. So we are covering the residential course. We are not covering travel unless you get financial aid. It's very important to know, and very important so that you plan from now for residential programs. I'm sorry that I'm saying it again. We only cover courses. You can receive aid, but it's definitely not guaranteed. And you might not receive aid like what happened this year when 50% of our fellows didn't receive any aid. Will there be more than one fellow from each country or just one? Yeah, we don't know exactly the number of fellows we're going to have from each country. It depends on the quality of applications and applicants. We're definitely going to have more. This year we have around 15 fellows from every country, from Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine, so 15 from every country. But definitely we're going to have more than one. Someone asked if we choose a residential option, will we be working there or just doing the courses? If I understand correctly, if you take a residential course, you will go to Harvard for at least 1 week, and you will be taking the courses there. Like, if you go there for 1 week, you'll be working and taking the course for the full week. So the courses start at 8 a.m. and it finishes like at 5, so it's a significant commitment. So don't expect that you'll have time to do other things during that time. But yeah, like if you take a residential course, then you will be coming here for the course. And again, like as Amr asked, and I just want to confirm that we only support the fee for the course. And again, like all this, by the way, is mentioned in the frequently asked questions link. We only support the course. We don't support travel for those who get accepted for financial aid, which is a very limited number. Okay, so I'm going to proceed for now, and as we move along, feel free if you have any questions to ask them. And again, we're going to stop sometimes and ask you as well. Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. As we move on. So, as you can see, I mean, this picture just shows you like some background. I just wanted to go through it quickly so that you can understand what's happening here. So, the picture to the left shows Professor Tina Blythe from School of Education going to Jordan for a session and convening with the fellows. The picture at the bottom is a webinar that we've had with the fellows that was discussing their problem, the theory of action, and how they can take what they've learned and share it with others. The picture at the top is some of the fellows, not all of them, some of the fellows from Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, during their different programs at the School of Education. And again, usually most of the residential programs don't take more than around a week. And the picture to the right is also a picture from the convening that we've had in Jordan with Professor Tina Blythe and our fellows in Jordan. As you can see the number, I mean, it's definitely more than one person per country. Yeah, so I just wanted to, I knew that this will probably happen, to make sure that you are aware that we have a link for the frequently asked questions. And I would highly recommend you, and moving forward, I think it's extremely important for everyone here to go through this document and go through this link before asking us a question, because I mean it also doesn't show well if we tell you that there's this link that has a lot of questions and you ask us the same questions that are there. So again, we're open to any questions, but just make sure that you go through it before. Because it has a lot of, I mean, it's based on basically some questions that we've got before, and we want to make sure that it's there so that everyone has access to it and also gets it right away, because sometimes you can send us an email and maybe we're going to respond to you the other day or the day after. So here's a link for a resource that has answers to a lot of questions that we get for the fellowship. So I'm going to stop here as well and get also some of the questions that you had. So I was asking just to make sure that I understand correctly, do we have to organize events, workshops, or on our own at each country? Yes. So the convenings include events that are organized by fellows, and also the fellowship experience as a whole. I mean, for you to share, I mean, you don't have to create an event or a workshop, but you have to tell us how you're going to share and work with us basically on sharing what you've learned. So you can create a blog, you can create short videos. It doesn't have to be a workshop or an event, but you definitely have to work with us to share what you've learned. If you don't share what you've learned, you don't become, I mean, automatically you get removed or dismissed, whatever, from the fellowship itself. I mean, we are offering you this opportunity so that you can offer others within your own community. We want you to be active agents within your own community. We want you to support this as much as possible. We don't want you just to take a course for the sake of taking it. And again, that's why we want you to spend a lot of time considering the courses that you want to take. Because again, think of it in this way. Those courses are the courses that are going to support your learning, but also are going to support the learning of others within your own community. So any other questions that you have, any wonderings that you have that you would like to share with us? You can also type to someone who is anyone has interest. Yeah, I know. So, any other questions? Anything that you want me to elaborate, or you want us to elaborate more on?
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can, but please, can you please mute your mic and just type, because we can't.
I don't know I'm just new to webinar, so it's the first time that I'm using it. Can you hear me now?
Okay. I can, but just please, if you're new, just please take a look at the link that looks like there's like an icon, looks like a mic. Please unmute it and type, or you can just type now something called an icon has chat above to the top right. Please type in it your question. Because again, like, I'm sorry, but we can't, if we open it to everyone, then it will be very hard for us to hear each other. Thank you. So any questions, anything that you, any wondering that you have? Okay, so Taleen is asking, do we apply to MEPLI Fellowship through the AGZ application link? We need to send an email asking for a specific application. So, I mean, probably I'd assume that you already got an email with the link of the application. If you got an email from us, probably this email has the link to the application. You don't need to send anything. However, Taleen, if you haven't received an email from us that gives you the links to the courses, and also gives you the link to the application, please let us know. But before doing that, please check your email, making sure that you didn't receive the email. Okay, someone is saying I'm late to. Okay, when will we hear back if we got chosen or accepted? So that's also one thing important to mention. So no one will be accepted just from the application. So the application process is just the first filtering mechanism that we have. Then we're going to have interviews with the fellows, or with those who pass from the first filtering process. So after the interview process, probably you'll know if you're accepted for an interview, you'll know within the last 2 weeks of November, and you're going to know if you are accepted by mid-December.
Mid-December, we know if we are accepted.
So the person who just said mid-December, please mute your mic because we heard you. Please, just for the sake of making sure that we don't have noise. Okay, someone has to ask a question about I think it's one more. Yeah, okay. I was late to join because I didn't know. Okay. I had to rejoin. Okay. Okay, so we're going to share the link for the video with everyone basically here, to make sure that they have access to the video you can repeat it afterwards on your own, just for the sake of time. So we're going to share the link to the video afterwards. Can you just slow down? Yes, you can take online courses only. Yes, is asking, can I just take online courses? Yes, you can only choose online courses if you prepare. Again, you choose the courses, we support you. We know that you have a lot of experience in, first of all, you are experts in your own context and country and everything that's happening. We are only supporting your great work in the region. So you choose and we help you. You can choose just online courses. You can choose just one residential course. It depends on the more importantly, I think that's the thing that is significantly important for us is, why are you selecting the courses? Not the number, not the type, is why, because this is what helps you, and this is what guides the whole process of the fellowship. How would we know if the course is online or on campus? So when you're opening the courses, each course clearly mentions if it's online or on campus. So you know that by opening every course through the link this link was sent from our email before with the links for the different courses. So if you open every course, you're going to know if this is the case.
Also, I mean, if I can mention that the application deadline is November 9th. This is where we should be receiving your application along with the recommendation letters. So your entire application should be complete by that date, November 9th.
So Ghaib is asking, it wasn't mentioned when we, exactly what? Yeah, so, I mean, it wasn't mentioned because I think it's already there. I'm not sure exactly what wasn't mentioned, but if the question is, it wasn't mentioned whether the courses are online or residential, so that's available in all our communications, and that's also available on the website. So, you know, we're sorry if you weren't able to identify that, but it's in all our communications. So we apologize, and we highly recommend. Again, that's also an opportunity to tell everyone, please make sure to go through our different email, like all the links basically that we shared with you, and like the content. Please go through it when you're applying if you haven't finished your application yet. Because the reason why we're sending them is because they're important. And one thing else that is important to mention, I know this might not necessarily sound the best thing, but one challenge we usually have is basically that we have a lot of people working with us who don't read our emails and don't read our communication. And one thing that you'll have to sign, that every fellow has to sign before joining the fellowship, is that they'll have to read everything we send, and that if they don't do that, then anything that happens and any challenge we face will be their own responsibility, which affects the whole experience. So please help us from the beginning, because again, it doesn't show well. So if there's something that you didn't have time to read or you didn't go through, it definitely affects your application. It affects your ability to join the fellowship. So because we want to make sure that this is not the case going forward. So please make sure to ask us as much as possible, but also make sure that you read everything we send. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask us, but just make sure that before that, you're going through the links we send and asking any questions you have. So one that Tani is asking, do we need to choose only from K-12 list, or we are allowed to choose from the other fields? So again, this is a question. This is an example of a question that's in the frequently asked questions. And I know we addressed, but probably Tani wasn't there. You can only choose between K-12 and online programs. And the links to both are in the frequently asked questions link. What happens if one of the recommendations was not received? So if one of the recommendations was not received, then you did not finish your application, then we won't be considering your application, because that's a requirement for completing your application. Are you expected to submit a recommendation letter, or you will approach? No. So that's a great question, Mazen. So every person you put the email, like once you put the email of the person and the name, automatically our system sends an email to this person asking him or her for a recommendation. Which means that what we want you to do is just contact your recommender to make sure that they're aware that they're your recommender and that they submit their recommendation. Because if they don't do that, we won't be considering your application. That's one thing for everyone to know. The recommendation letters are integral to the whole application. And again, like our system doesn't read your application if you don't have recommendations, because for us, your application is still incomplete. So if you don't have recommendations, if only one's missing, then your application won't be considered. Okay, how many courses can we choose? So we're offering you can choose more than 3 courses, and they have to be between online and residential courses. So you can't take more than 3 courses. You can't choose just one. You can choose just 2 if you want. Like you're not. We don't force you. Again, like you choose the courses that makes the most sense to your context. But we don't. We advise you sometimes if the course doesn't make sense to your profile, we let you know. But we don't force any courses on you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're glad that you're excited enough that you're choosing 6, and that's usually a problem because again, like we have around 90 courses, so it's a lot. So it becomes much harder to choose. But again, like this process of choosing also helps you know exactly what you want to get out of the course. So thank you, Ghaida, for that. Is there a need to write a cover motivation letter? No, just the resume and the recommendation letters. And that's all in the application process. So there's nothing that asks you for a cover letter within the application. So any other questions? Yeah, the courses are pass-fail, yes. So rather you'll know by, so definitely you'll wait till December to know. However, if you're accepted for an interview, you will know by November if you're accepted for an interview or not. So only in November you know if you're accepted for an interview, but by December you'll know, because that's basically the time we're going to send everyone if they were rejected by that time. However, that said, if your application is not ready by the 9th of November, I mean, anyone who doesn't complete their application and we don't have recommendation letters by the 9th of November, then your application won't be accepted because it's not complete. So someone's asking if any of my advisors who I put them didn't respond to the recommendation letter. Can I change him? You can, but you have to let us know. And you have to let us know, at least give us 1 week to work on that. So if you let us know 1 week, less than a week before the deadline of the application, then definitely you won't be able to change that. So Maisa is asking the 3 programs that interest me, their date is already expired or soon expire in September, for example. So I mean, those courses you can take the next year. So by September of 2019. Okay. So any other questions? And one thing else that's important to mention, again, like it's the frequently asked questions, you have to, before you join, you have to submit a payment of $200, and this is a commitment fee. Basically, I mean, again, $200 is a significantly low amount compared to what we are investing in the fellowship, and the reason why we are having this $200 is we want to make sure that every person within the fellowship is contributing to the fellowship, and we want to make sure that no one's taking a course just because it's free. And I mean, again, $200 is not a significant number that would also not let you drop a course, but at least we want to make sure that you're also not only are you invested emotionally and intellectually, but we also want to make sure that at least you're invested financially. Again, a significantly low number compared to what we're investing, but that's very important. So yeah, you have to submit this payment basically once you get accepted to proceed with the fellowship. No, there is an English proficiency requirement in terms of fluency, but you don't need to submit the TOEFL for us or anything else. And again, this is a question I think is also the frequently asked questions, and I think it's also in all our communication.
You know, we'd be happy to share the frequently asked question link and document with you after this webinar. You can send it to them.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. So definitely, I mean, I'm glad at least that a lot of the questions are already within the frequently asked questions. So yeah, it would be very helpful for everyone to go through them to make sure that they're addressing. And again, if you have any questions, any other questions, we're happy to answer. So the university only provides the courses, right? No tickets or accommodation. Yes. So we mainly provide the courses. We have minimal funding for travel and accommodation. Minimal. So we highly recommend that you don't plan your residential course with the impression or the assumption that we are going to pay for your travel. This won't happen. We have minimal funding, and the minimal funding we have never covers everything. It usually covers just sometimes 50%, sometimes even less than that. So so that you clearly know, so that you don't have any assumption issues with us in the future telling us that I expected you to pay. We won't be paying for your travel or accommodation. We might be paying it just if you are accepted for financial aid, and that's not guaranteed. That's minimal funding that is provided for minimal fellows. So please don't plan that you are coming, and make sure that you, in a way, maybe you can also discuss with us your options, get our opinion. We can help you with finding cheap options in terms of accommodation. We can give you definitely advice on what to do, tips and tricks basically of coming here. But we highly recommend that you include that while you're planning your courses. So any other questions? Because I just want to be aware, because we have around 5 minutes and then we have to end, because I want to be conscious of your time. So Ghada is asking if I need to change my email address. What can I do? You need to let us know because this is a technical thing. So you need to let us know. Send us an email with more details, and then we're happy to find how we can help. Thank you, Abir. Thank you. We appreciate all your words and any. I mean, we're happy to help. And again, like I know that in this session we provide a lot of information, a lot of things. We want you to again, like take a look at the frequently asked questions. Take a look at the slide that we're going to share. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask us. Ask us as much as possible so that you don't suddenly discover something one day before the deadline or like after the deadline. Because I mean, again, we won't help you. The deadline is set. It's the 9th of November. If you're delayed, then we're sorry. We'll have to just wait for your application probably next year. So the more you ask, the better. But we highly recommend, that you check the frequently asked questions and go through the different documents we send before asking us, because it doesn't give the best impression if we're getting questions that are already addressed in documents that we shared before. So again, we want you to do your homework, and we're happy to help as much as possible, but please make sure to do that, because again, like when we're going through the applications, we're going to also check the profile of every person. So for example, we're getting that we know that X person send us, for example, or asked us the same question or question for something that we shared 5 times before, then it doesn't show well in terms of this person's application. If you have to, I mean, we only ask for 2 recommendation letters. So if you already have 2, that you don't need to worry. We don't have access right now for a 3rd one. So just make sure that the 2 recommendations are provided. No, we're only going to consider applications for this year. So thank you, Hassan. That's a great question. We're only going to consider applications this year. Applications last year, anyone who's interested last year will have to apply again. But yeah, we won't be considering any previous applications, because this application this year is different as well. So that's why. My pleasure. Any other questions? Anything that's question that you really want to ask that wasn't clear? My pleasure, Mazen. My pleasure, and thank you for joining and for all your great questions and for your interaction throughout the session. So yeah, I'm just going to leave like the last minute. If you have any questions, if you want to add anything as well.
No, we look forward to receiving your application. A very beneficial program, and we hope to answer any questions you have in the upcoming few weeks before the deadline. I just wanted to reiterate that the deadline is November 9th, and it's a solid deadline, right? Mm-hmm. So, you'll have to apply by 11:59 p.m. Boston time. After that, it's going to be hard to receive any further applications. Mm-hmm. We hope to see as many of you, taking their residential programs as well, and seeing you here at Huxley, Harvard Graduate School of Education.
Thank you, Noel, and thanks for everyone who joined today. And we hope we helped you at least answer some questions that you have. And if you have any questions, please feel free to share them through the MEPLI@gse.harvard.edu, the same email that sent you all the communication. And please make sure to go through anything that we shared with you. Go through the frequently asked questions to help you while you're applying. Thank you. And yeah, Hassan, we can address your question offline, so you can just send us an email with your question. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.